Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update on Solana. So, it's been 2 weeks and a 27.6% drop since our last video. In our previous video we talked about that $5 Solana being programmed, and we were waiting for a few different things to play out. These situations have now fully played out, so let's re-update the markets and talk about how quickly I expect us to dump down to our $5 price target. Now, let's start off with this bear flag that I do see on the daily time frame. Now, this is an ugly one. Technically, it's a bearish pennant. There's so many different ways you can draw it. You can draw the top from the candle wicks. You can draw something like a horizontal ray in the middle at the top of the ranges, candle body closes. You can do the same horizontal ray at the bottom, candle body closes, and you can also draw from the wicks down here. But whatever you're drawing, whatever preferred way you have of drawing this, they all start to converge at this $13 price target, which basically lines up with all of these candle body closes, other than, you know, this quick liquidity grab down to $10. So on this channel, we obviously previously predicted a $10 Solana, moved our prediction down to $5 in the immediate short term, and as you can see, I mean, on the daily time frame, if we come over to a slightly cleaner chart, it wasn't too long ago that we were holding these lows at $25, broke down to one of our first macro price targets, the 1.618 Fibonacci. And ever since then, if I do drag this range out just a little bit, you can see, you know, we've been holding the 1.618 Fibonacci while forming, you know, once again, however you want to draw it, forming this bearish pennant at this moment in time. Now, like I said, we were waiting for a few different things to play out in the crypto markets, stock markets, Bitcoin, reversion to the mean, etc. And we finally had that play out. And it's played out for Solana as well. We finally come back into the daily EMA ribbons. Now, if I clear this chart up for a second, let me just show you the most prominent times. Well, let me just highlight every time. We poked our head above the EMA ribbons here, boom, to the downside. We poked our head above here, boom, to the downside. Poked our head here, boom, to the downside. Poked our head here, downside. Poked our head here, downside. So literally every single time that Solana comes up to these EMA ribbons, pokes its head above it, comes back to retest and fails the retest, it absolutely nukes through the floorboards. And we're showing extreme weakness right now, and it's not just in the Solana market, it's not just in Bitcoin. The stock market is absolutely melting through the floorboards right now, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But very, very quickly, like I said, reversion to the mean is taking place on the EMA ribbons, and Solana should be getting ready to take a quick move back down to the downside. So we talked about the daily, we talked about this bearish pennant. Let's look at the conservative price target from this. So I'm literally just drawing down to this candle body close instead of drawing like all the way down to here, and I'll draw this from the breakdown. You could see that this could possibly equate to about a $4.50 Solana. Now, we've talked about $4.50, we've talked about $5 before on this channel. There is quite a lot of confluence around these levels. If I do kind of zoom back, you can see volume clusters start to load in at $4.50. What a coincidence, down here with the bear flag price target. Literally, you can't make this up. Exactly, the volume profiles right here. 450 is where there's a majority of previous data traded. So if I do clear this up, you can see a very nice range all the way at these levels where there has been liquidity provided before. You can also see top of the range on the wick is right here at $5. You can see candle body closes is right here at $4.50. So we've got quite a lot of confluence down here at $4.50, $5 or so. I'm also going to talk about another price target in 1 second, which is a little bit more brutal. But as you can imagine, in my opinion, I do still 100% believe this $5 Solana is absolutely programmed. And if we are looking at these volume clusters down here, let's talk about the first volume cluster actually. You can see if I'll keep it. I don't think it's too bad. You can see the screen, right? My charts are always extremely messy. So if you're a veteran of the channel, you're probably used to seeing like 1,000,001 different things anyway. So you can see, you know, this orange box, this just correlates to this volume profile over here where liquidity has been provided. And we always talk about this on the channel. What happens when you go into an area where there's no volume traded? Like here, well, you can see big volume cluster here. What happened as soon as you took out the floorboards? Straight line to the downside. And yes, you can say, you know, this was partially influenced by FTX, and I would agree with you. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, you can look at this in every single type of scenario. Even in the bullish scenarios, no volume traded at this level, lots of volume traded here. What happens when you break above the range? Quick move to the upside. We're going to do the same thing to the downside. We're literally teetering on the brink of death right now. The bottom of this volume cluster is coming in at $13.33. We are literally hugging it as of the time of recording this, and if we do pull back this bear flag. Once again, just a quick reminder that there's a lot of confluence round about $13, and as soon as $13 gets lost, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a very quick rocket down to our next macro price target, the bottom of this VPVR range at $8. If you watch my previous video where we talked about the $5 Solana being programmed, we did actually have a target in the immediate short term, which was down here at $7.85. That is still my immediate short term price target, as you can see, down about 28% or so since that video. But you know, in the higher time frames, I do think we're coming all the way down to $5. So let me readjust this price target, and as you can see, I would be predicting about another 63% drop for Solana, probably in the next few weeks, in the next month or so. Maybe not the next few weeks, maybe the next month or two. But we're going to come down as soon as we start losing this $13 is basically what I'm saying. As soon as we lose $13, it's going to be a relatively quick ride back down to the downside. Whether it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I just know that as soon as you lose volume clusters, you move to the downside very, very quickly. Let's check out the oscillators because, like we said, everything is very hingent on this $13 price target. So let's look at how the oscillators feel about us coming down to this level. Now, squeeze momentum indicator ticking into dark green. What was the last time? What was the last thing that happened? Or what was the? This is a mouthful to say. What happened last time when we started to tick into dark green? My brain just died for a second. But yeah, as you can see over here, we were at $35 approximately. We started to tick into dark green, and we had a major meltdown to the downside. And it's the same situation most of the times. As soon as you do tick into, you know, like this light red territory, it's basically curtains. And you can see, you know, quite recently, the bearish moves have been far more prominent than the bullish moves. So we're technically sitting in neutral over on the squeeze momentum indicator yet. We haven't yet flipped bearish. Now, I'm going to talk about liquidity conditions last because I do also want to look at this chart. The stochastic RSI has quite recently come up to, you know, 99. It came up to 100.5, and then it came up to, you know, 99, 99.5, something like this. And, you know, once again, the stochastic RSI has a pretty good track record. As soon as you do come up to this, you know, extremely overextended range, maybe it doesn't call the exact top. We broke down and then had a second top over here, but you can see, you know, a lot of these stochastic tops, they do correlate to a downtrend in the immediate short term. And, you know, back in these tops over on the stochastic RSI, we were establishing a range. We've fallen from that range. There's no volume profiles beneath this level, so it's not like we're going to fall slowly and establish a new range, in my opinion. I think we're pretty quickly going to rocket down to, you know, that $8 price target, then that $5 price target, $4.50 where the bear flag is, and also confluence with the candle body closes down here that we just talked about. Now, last of all, I want to talk about liquidity conditions for both Solana and the stock market. Obviously, they're timestamped. If you really, really hate me talking about the stock market, you can skip through it. But I always do say this in my videos. If you are trading cryptocurrency, any cryptocurrency whatsoever, and you're not paying attention to the stock market, I can guarantee that you don't have a very successful hit ratio. All of the best traders look at the stock market. If you don't look at the stock market, you probably have no idea what's happening in the crypto markets most of the time, and you're just drawing trend lines and saying, oh, if we break above this level, then this happens. If we break beneath this level, this happens. You need to look at the stock market for greater context. But first of all, liquidity conditions for Solana. Let's look at the money flow index. You can see very, very brutal line of best fit here, linear downtrend on the money flow index. This is basically like the RSI, but it also takes into account in volume. So if you do wonder, you know, why I never have, you know, these volume things over on my chart, it's because I don't need them. I don't use the RSI and I don't use the volume because MFI does all of that for me. I can very clearly witness volume overextensions in the market. And Solana has been turning up quite recently. Now, there were a lot of, you know, don't be offended when I say this because, you know, I'm also in the Solana space. But let's be honest, basically everyone on Solana Twitter is basically a degenerate. And, you know, while we were running up to, you know, this $14, $15 price target, everyone was saying, you know, Solana's getting ready to break out, when $20, when $25, now's the time to buy, blah, blah, blah. And when that normally happens, it's normally time to start selling. And, you know, this has already happened and we've started to pull through the floorboard. So we know lots of liquidity has come into this market because MFI is turning up, volume's turning up, the engagement on Solana Twitter as the price goes up always increases for like a few days, and that is normally a telltale sign that, you know, whales are going to witness that, they're going to start selling, MFI is going to top out, and we're going to start breaking down to the downside. So liquidity conditions for Solana are overextended as we're coming down to this part line around about $13. And just very quickly, if we are looking at the E-mini futures book depth, this is basically a tool to visualize liquidity and volume overextensions in the stock market. If we just look on the weekly time frame, you can see we're extremely overextended right now. Daily probably captures it a little bit better, but we have just had a brutal run up. And if you are looking at the mid price, which is this blue line, I unfortunately can't draw trend lines over on this chart. You can see, I'm sure you can draw a trend line in your head and you can see a line of best fit from here, downtrend hit here, downtrend hit here. And quite recently we had a volume overextension which topped out in the stock market. And when you're coming over to the S&P 500 in of itself, if you watch the channel, you would have seen this chart many times, but these blue lines over here correlate to the tops in liquidity conditions for the S&P 500. And once again, top out of liquidity, top out of liquidity, top out of liquidity, and top out of liquidity. We've been calling for this for about the past 2 weeks on the channel. I have been letting you know, when did we talk about this? The markets are about to nuke. We gave you a warning, 10 days ago, 10 reasons to be bearish on the S&P 500. 3 days ago, the markets are starting to nuke, or we were predicting they were going to start nuking. And of course, this is finally coming into fruition. So when you are looking at the S&P 500, like I said, to be a good trader of Solana, to be a good trader of any crypto in general, you need to look at what's happening in the stock market, because you might have been caught with your pants down looking at this flag and saying, oh, we're in a volume cluster. If we hold this level, then we go up. But then, if you learn stock market trading, you look at what's going on in the stock market, you would have been like, okay, Solana's about to get boned, and that is exactly what's happened. Liquidity conditions are turning down for the S&P 500, very overextended in terms of price action. And also, once again, if you do watch the channel, you know that we do cover economic data when it does come out. And recently we talked about another traumatizing event. Retail sales were down for the core markets, and this is going to drag your S&P 500s down, which is going to drag Bitcoin down, which is going to drag Solana down. Solana's already retested this reversion to the mean on the EMA ribbons. Everything's really getting ready for a final capitulation on Solana. Now, I do want to finish on some on-chain metrics, but I did also just make a video talking about how the Bitcoin and crypto markets just had a brutal rejection. And I'll just very quickly show you this now. Over on the total cryptocurrency market cap, you can see range lows were right here. What do? Established lows in June, established lows, broke down, bounced back up, grabbed liquidity, failed retests, and now we're breaking back down to the downside. This is the same chart that we're witnessing on the altcoin market cap, but it looks a little bit more ugly. You can see range lows, fell beneath the range lows, broke down quite recently in the past week or two, came back and retested, and now we're getting a nasty move to the downside. What's Bitcoin doing? What do you think Bitcoin's doing? It's doing the exact same as these other charts. Once again, June, range lows established, pump, break down, come down to the range lows, come down to the range lows, big M pattern, break down, grab liquidity from the range lows and get rejected, and we are now starting to move to the downside. So I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating at all when I am saying that Solana is literally getting ready to absolutely nuke through the floorboards. I do believe once that $13 is lost, it's going to be $8 very quickly. We'll have to reanalyze the market when we do come down to $8, but I also do think it's going to be very smooth sailing down to the $5 price target. Now, let's quickly just fly through some on-chain metrics, because we actually talked about this, or some on-chain metrics about 2 weeks ago for Solana, and we basically highlighted that the network growth is just absolutely slowing. We particularly looked at this chart, the Solana value moved on-chain on the monthly, and you can see, monthly, you can see the amount of value, the amount of US dollars that's being moved on the chain is diminishing. Value moved on chain, 7-day moving average, that's just another way of quantifying it. Number of new addresses on Solana, absolutely falling through the floorboards. Number of new addresses on the network on the daily, 7-day moving average, heading down. This is just another monthly version of that chart. The non-vote transactions, so basically meaning transactions which are used for purchases, sending to and from wallets. These do not encompass staking, and for example, with every epoch you put your vote out, it won't encompass these vote transactions. It just encompasses like other movement on the network. And as you can see, past year to date, falling through the floorboards. If we come over to the yearly, the transactions are going down, network interest is going down, FUD is increasing for Solana. Once again, another way of quantifying it over on the monthly here, you can see year to date is falling through the floorboards. So all in all, the network growth of Solana is just not looking good right now. And of course, I do fully fully appreciate that the network growth for pretty much every single crypto right now, of course the network growth is going to be down. We're in a bear market, but what we're witnessing in Solana is more monumental than what I'm witnessing in other cryptocurrencies that I do cover over on this channel. So just wanted to give you a quick update, just wanted to give you a heads up. The reversion to the mean has taken place. $13 is really your last line in the sand. If you do fall beneath this, there is not much support. Well, I take that back. There isn't much support. There's no support until you come down to $10. There's only a very quick wick down here. I think $8 is where the majority of this volume cluster lies to the downside. And yeah, like I said, just a quick update for you. $5 Solana is absolutely still programmed. So that's all I've got for you for this video, my friends. If you did want to follow me over on Twitter for some extra content, it is here at 618_cowboy. And of course, if you did enjoy the content, make sure to let me know by leaving a like, a comment down below, share the videos with your friends. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out.